victories that I love so dear bring the power of a new era to me!
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Luke is real here from Team Cardfighters United, bringing you back again to an awesome budget deck profile. First off, I do want to say sorry from all of us here at TCU for keeping you guys in the dark for so long. We've been pretty busy with work and school and stuff. Me and Zio moved to college. Maybe August, September of last year. Bailey's been in college since maybe June or July, somewhere in there. Mac's been doing whatever Mac does. It's just been really hard for us to actually get content out for you guys, because being freshmen in college is not really easy, especially if we're trying to build decks for you guys. But we are trying to get back into the flow of things for 2018. Hopefully we'll get a few more videos out. We're going to try to do a video every week. So please be on the lookout for that. We have some other things in the works. We're also nearing 200 subscribers. So if you guys could help, that would be awesome. We might have something planned if you guys can get us up to 200 subscribers by, let's see, March 10th for Springfest for Team League, because we're going. If you guys want to see us there, we will be in Atlanta. So yeah, come meet us. We're awesome. We know how to play children's card games. Yeah, but I did want to go ahead and bring you guys this awesome deck profile that I've been kind of having in the back pocket for a while and just haven't had the chance to either record or post. This is Pale Moon's Silverthorn. A couple of things. First off, this is a budget deck, so I wasn't able to afford Mystic Lukier, because for some reason she's still sitting at about $20 to $25 a piece, and I don't have that to do today. Second, there is another card in here that should have been in here, but upon looking into it, it was maybe $10 to $15 a piece. And considering that I am a Narukami main, I ended up selling it for Narukami stuff that I desperately needed to finish the deck. I do have another deck. I do have that deck profile in the back pocket as well. So hopefully, after the week after this video comes out, you'll be able to see how awesome it is. But those two cards are not in here. If you do want to play them, it is one copy of Fairfield and 4 copies of Mystic Lukier. That is just the main disclaimer about that, because I don't have them. Anyway, let's get into this awesome deck profile. I freaking love Silverthorn. They were one of the first few decks I learned how to play when I started the game, and I'm really happy that Bushy actually didn't neglect them like they do OTT. I'm sorry all my OTT mains, especially my boy Zio. You'll be fine. Let's get started. First off, I run 4 copies of Silverthorn Dragon Master Venus Lukier, which is one of the new Lukier She's a grade 4. Gen Break 3. Choose 2 of your rear guards with Silverthorn as card name. Put them into your soul. When this unit attacks, pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets an extra crit to the end of the battle. And then once per turn, you kind of bust 1 and unflip a copy of her, and you get to call another Silverthorn from your soul. She's pretty straightforward. She's not that good of a card. Honestly, I hope they do something else with Silverthorn later on in other sets. But she is decently helpful. She's a decent first stride and maybe a second stride if you can get her skill off properly. Let me just fix this lamp for the lighting, because the glare on that is really gross. Yeah, she's not that good, but she's not bad either. And then she's a Silverthorn, so Silverthorn striding is awesome. Next, I run a copy of Adore Dragon Master Amanda. She's a Magia unit. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, Soul Charge 1, and choose a card from your soul, call it to rearguard circle. It gets plus 2k, and at the end of the battle, put the unit call with the effect into your soul. Pretty straightforward. She is from the Harry trial deck, if I remember correctly. So she's not that bad of a card. Next, I run a copy of Crudelis, Dragon Master, Janet. Counterblast 1, choose a rearguard, put into your soul. When the student is placed on the Vanguard circle, pay the cost. If you do, choose a card from your soul, call it to rearguard circle, and it gets plus 2k. And because nothing's in here that's Magia, the second portion of the effect won't go off, but either way, if you call the Magia unit, which you won't, you get to soul charge 1. So you just miss out on a soul charge. That's all it is. It's nothing big. The last actual stride of the deck is Screaming Dragon Master Droll Kimberly, which is the GB8 for the deck. I have no idea how much she is. Just because she's a GB8 does not mean she's expensive. I think she's like $2 or $3. But G-Break 8, when the unit attacks a Vanguard, choose up to 5 cards from your soul, call them into separate rearguard circles, and until the end of the turn, they get plus 5,000 power and the Abyss Dragon archetype. Until the end of the battle, this unit gets plus 10,000 power for each Abyss Dragon on your rearguard circle. I didn't fully understand why she had that until I went back into Silverthorn, not just Silverthorn, but Pale Moon in general. There are a lot of Abyss Dragons. So if you already had Abyss Dragons on the board and you don't want to empty out your soul calling them, those units that you called get Abyss Dragons, and you still get the Abyss Dragon archetype, and you still get power for the Abyss Dragons on your rearguard circles. That's freaking amazing. Next, we're moving on to the G-Guards, because that's actually all there is, and I don't want to have Proxy sitting in there, because they're really gross. Next is Chainsaw Megatrick Fairfield, probably the best G-Guard to have in here because of his skill. When the student is placed on the rearguard circle, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, search for 1 card from among them, put it into your soul, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, and if you put a card from the soul, if the card put into your soul with this effect is grade 1 or greater, he gets an additional 5,000 shield, which it should be a grade 1 or greater. You shouldn't have to put a grade 0 in your soul, unless it's a decent grade 0 that you kind of want your soul to call out later. Next, I run a single copy of Gesture, Demonic Dragon, Wandering Dragon. When it's placed on Guardian Circle, Soul Charge 1, and choose a card from your soul and put it into the Guardian Circle. He's really good for getting rid of grade 0s in your soul, because that's an extra 10k shield. I don't see why you wouldn't want that. And the last one is Kinesis Megatrick, Cool Heart. Cool Heart's skill is you unflip a G-Guard from your G-Zone, and when it's placed, if there are cards of 4 or more different grades in your soul, pay the cost. If you do, he gets an additional 15,000 shields. So you have to have a grade 0, 1, 2, and 3 in your soul in order to make his skill effective. He's a decent G-Guard, but he's not the best. So, not that terrible, not that great. Moving on. We're going to go on to the grade 3s. Now, with the grade 3s, you could run a different grade. You could run a different secondary grade 3. If any, I would suggest Dragon Master Lukier, because her skill will still go off, because let me just explain when I pull them out, okay? Because it's kind of difficult to explain. Alright, the first grade 3 is the main grade 3 of the deck, which is Silver Thorn, Dragon Tamer, Lukier. Now I know what you're saying. That name sounds real familiar. It is, because it's the exact same name as the OG one, which means you can't run both of them in the deck out of 4 of. That's why I said it's best to run the Master Lukier, or if you want to be cheap, reverse Lukier. But Lukier's skill has a soul skill that's Limit Break. Soul Blast 1. Soul Blast another card with Silverthorn, which the entire deck is Silverthorn, so yeah. At the beginning of your main phase, you pay the cost. If you do, call this card to rearguard circle, and this unit gets plus 3,000 power until the end of the turn. If you do, at the end of the turn, put this unit back into your soul. So it's essentially Magia, and then it has an auto ability. When your G unit with Silverthorn as card name strides, during your turn, choose one of your vanguards, and it gets a skill. That's when your unit with Silverthorn as card name is placed on rearguard circle from soul, it gets an additional plus 3,000 power. Which is really, really good considering you're always calling something from your soul. So I suggest keeping it at 4 of. And because her name is the original Lukier's name, she still works with Master Lukier. So if you have the money or have the card, I suggest putting it in there instead of this. It's only in here because A, it's Silverthorn, and B, I don't have money to afford Master Lukier or Reverse Lukier for that matter. But this is a good alternative. This is Silverthorn Master Dragon. When it's placed on the Vanguard or Rearguard circle, you reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. I choose up to 3 with different grades and Silverthorn and their card names from among them. Put them into your soul and choose the rest and put them on the bottom of your deck in any order. And this unit gets plus 2,000 power for each card you put into your soul. So he can get a maximum of 6,000 power. Well, yeah, 6,000 power. Not bad. Not a bad grade 3. It's just that when both Lukier and Master Dragons are in the deck, for some reason, I see more Master Dragons than I see Lukiers, and that kind of pisses me off. Just saying. But that's none of my business. Alright, moving on to grade 2s. This is my absolute favorite grade 2 in the entire deck. This is Silverthorn Upright Dragon. Well, Upright Lion. Ooh, why did I say dragon? Everything in this deck is a freaking dragon something, that's why. This is Silverthorn Upright Lion, a pretty decent old card. When another one of your units with Silverthorn in his card name is placed on Rearguard Circle from your soul, if you have a Pale Moon Vanguard, this unit gets plus 3,000 power until the end of the turn. And that skill actually stacks. So, call something, plus 3,000, call something, plus 3,000, call something, plus 3,000, call, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. It constantly gains power, and it keeps that power until the end of the turn. So you can pull off really insane combos and, combos and different skills that you can do to constantly gain power on him. Next is another decently old card. This is Silverthorn Magician Clemens. His skill, when it attacks, if I have a Lukier Vanguard, which you should be on unless you're on Master Dragon, you send this unit to your soul. If the attack hits, and you have Vanguard with Lukier, you pay the cost, which just send it to the soul, and call something else not named Clemens from your soul. What I found out with Lukier, well, Silverthorn in general, they do a lot of replace calling. So if you call something or something hits, you get to send it and replace it, essentially giving you another stand, which is really fun and interesting because you don't have to call from your hand a lot. The next grade 2 is 3 copies of my girl, Silverthorn Acrobat Leukemia. She has the same 11k beat stick as Clemens. If there's a Lukier Vanguard, she gets an additional plus 2. But her auto ability is you Soul Blast 1 with Silverthorn as card name. When to attack at the Vanguard, search your deck for up to 1 card with Lukier as card name and put into your soul and shuffle your deck. You do this so now you can get off Lukier's Gem Break 4. Not Gem Break 4, Limit Break 4. So you can call her out again later on in the game. There's another card in here that will allow you to get her back into your hand from your soul if she's in there, because you want to be on the Lukier Vanguard most of the time. And I'll explain that card later. The last grade 2 of the deck is Silverthorn Acute Dragon, which I think is Bushy's way of giving us another or new Upright Lion. His skill is when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, if you have a Vanguard with Lukier in his card name, this unit gets plus 2,000 to the end of the turn. And Gen Break, when this unit is placed on the Rearguard Circle from your soul, if you have a Vanguard with Lukier in his card name, this unit gets plus 2,000. Yeah. That's it. I think this was Bushy's way of doing another upright. Not sure. Yeah, when your other units place. So, yeah, this is Bushy's other way of giving us an upright. That's not quite upright, that you have to be on Gen Break to do. That overall, I think, gets more power than upright. It's just not as fast. So, yeah, that's actually all my grade 2s. That's all I've got. We're going to move on to grade 1s in just a moment once I get all this cleaned up. All right. Of course, you want to have 4 perfect guards, and the only Silverthorn perfect guard is Silverthorn Hypnosis Lydia, which just has the generic perfect guard ability. There is a quintet wall, but you want as many cards in your deck as possible to search and add from the other skills in the deck. I don't know why you would run it, but it's in there. It's not in this deck, but it's in Silverthorn in general. Next is probably the most broken card in Silverthorn. Notice I didn't say the game because there are more broken cards. But this is Silverthorn Clown Cerne. Now, it was so broken, Bushy had to change it before it came out. His skill is Gen Break 1. You send it to your soul, choose a card from your hand, and discard it. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted a Vanguard. You pay the cost. If you do, choose a card from your soul and call it to rearguard circle. He does also have a soul ability that's kind of +1. When your unit with Silverthorn in its card name is placed on rearguard circle from your soul, if you have a Vanguard with Lukier in its card name, pay the cost. If you do, call this card to rearguard circle. Now, there is a really fun combo that you can do with him. It's have something from your... Do whatever you're going to do. Call something from your soul. Call him for a counterblast. Do stuff. Attack with 1 column first. Attack with the Vanguard boosted by him. Use his skill. Call something else into the front row. And then, because he sends himself to soul first, when you pay the cost and resolve the skill completely, because something was called from your soul, you can essentially call him back out again. Now, originally, his skill didn't have when he boosted a Vanguard. It was just when he boosted. So you could essentially infinitely combo with just him alone. And it kind of made both Acute Dragon and Upright Lion really broken. But they've changed it, so it's whatever. Next is my girl, Silverthorn Assistant, Irina. Irina's skill is very straightforward. You place her on the Vanguard or rearguard circle. You get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Pick up to 1, my mistake. You get to put it into your soul, and the other card goes to the bottom of the deck. If you don't pick any, then they both go to the bottom of the deck in any order. Which if you see 2 triggers or a trigger and a perfect guard, you want to put them both on the bottom of the deck. You don't want them in your soul. Alright, lastly is Silverthorn Assistant Zelma. Zelma is one of those other cards I was talking about that's a lot of send it, call it, and replace something. Her skill is when she's placed on the rearguard circle, choose another one of your Silverthorn rearguards, send it to your soul, and choose something else not named Zelma, and call it from your soul. So, essentially, if you call her out with Cerne, you get to send something else back to your soul and pretty much repeat the cycle over and over and over again. It's a little bit more difficult to do. So for newbies trying to get into this, I don't recommend you trying the Cerne Zelma combo yet. Alright, those are actually all my grade 1s. We're going to move on to triggers. First off, I run 8 crits in this deck. If you've seen any of my videos, I run a lot of 8 crit stuff. 4 copies of Silverthorn Assistant Dixie. You put this unit on the top of your deck. If you have a Vanguard with Lukier in his card name, choose it to 1 card with Silverthorn from your soul and call it. Shuffle your deck. Because her skill does not specify when to activate the skill except during the main phase, you could use her in any Pale Moon deck and just send her back as a constantly reshuffling shuffling crit. And then I ran 4 copies of Silverthorn Barking Dragon. That's about that. I do run 4 heals, which is Silverthorn Juggler Nadia. There's nothing else other than this. She's a heal. I run 2 copies of the stand, Silverthorn Beast Tamer Surge, just a generic stand. Put them there. And then 2 copies of Silverthorn Marionette Natasha, just a generic draw trigger, just for that extra oomph that you might need. Alright, those are actually all my triggers and grade 1s. So let's go ahead and move these out of the way so I can go ahead and explain my other unit that I was telling you about earlier. Because I know you guys are like, wait a minute, Lucas, where is the unit you were telling us about? You said it was important and it would help with Lukier. And it does, to an extent. Alright, first off, I run 2 different starters based on the situation I'm in. Because there's no rule that says you can't change your starter. If I'm in a position where I do believe I won't have my grade 3, I go with Silverthorn, Beast Tamer, Lolette. Now, Lolette's skill is what is really, really interesting. If you've comboed properly and you have her on your board and no Lukier, you can use her skill. You choose another unit, choose this unit and another rearguard with Silverthorn as card name and put them both into your soul. At the end of your turn, if you have a Vanguard Silverthorn as card name, pay the cost. If you do, countercharge 1 and choose 1 grade 3 from your soul and put it into your hand. She's really good if you don't have Stride Fodder or you're not on Lukier and you don't have her in your hand, but you have her on the board. She's one of those fixer-upper cards that I really, really enjoy in this deck. And then considering that if you have something on your board, if you have something in your hand that you really want in your soul, you can call it still and use the skill, and that's really freaking great. But the main grade 0 in the deck is, of course, my darling Silverthorn Assistant Ionella. Now, a lot of people use the other one where you get to look through your deck and pick a grade and pick a one, either 0, 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, something like that and put it from your deck and put it in your soul. I don't personally like that one because there are some complications you can have with that. I like Ionella because her skill is the exact same as Ionera. Her skill, when this unit when a tech gets a Vanguard that this unit boosted a Vanguard with Silverthorn as card name, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, pick up to 1, send it to your soul, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So you get to choose what you want from the top 2 rather than going in and picking 4 1s. With her, she stays on the board, and every time you boost an attack with your Vanguard, which you want to kind of do 2 or 3 times. Oh, my bad. You want to kind of do 2 or 3 times at least. You get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and essentially stack the last few cards of your deck for free. And then once you don't need her anymore, or you know that the Vanguard hit is not going to hit anymore, you can send it to your soul and stop using her altogether and start using something else. Which for Cerne, you want to have her back in your soul and Cerne behind your Vanguard. Other than that, that's pretty much it for this deck. This was really fun to make. Let's see. It cost me maybe between 30 and 50 bucks to finish this, because I bought a bunch of this back when the Rummy Labyrinth booster was revealed, and they said that Silverthorn was in there, and I was like, oh, cool, this is my chance to actually build Silverthorn. And I know that Zio and I were talking, and he said, oh, hey, you should probably go ahead and buy up whatever stuff you need and you can. So that way, because a lot of people have been wanting to play Silverthorn, and they're going to buy it up. So I immediately bought like 4 copies of every Silverthorn I could find that was pretty cheap. And so when the booster came out, I know Takeo had to buy it, and he just sent me any Silverthorn stuff that he had. So this deck was fairly cheap for me to finish. I know I needed like a couple more Lukiers, a couple of Venuses. I still need Mystic Lukiers, but this deck wasn't too bad. Wasn't too hard to build. Like I said, don't forget that if you want, you can go ahead and put in 4 copies of Mystic Lukier and 1 copy of Fairfield. Those are the only changes I would make if I had the money, but I don't. So I'll deal with it when the time arises. If you guys have any suggestions for this deck, leave a comment down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We're nearly 200 subscribers. That would really be awesome if we can get there. Again, sorry for not posting so recently. It's been really difficult for us too, and I'm trying to get everybody rallying back up together. We could really use you guys' support and help by watching our videos and telling us what we can fix, or what you like or what you don't like, what you want to see, what you don't want to see anymore, things like that. Other than that, I think this is it. This has been your boy, Lucas Rio here from Team Cardfighters United. And please, always, always, always remember, meta is absolutely disgusting. So just play what you want to play, man.